All right, After Buzzers, get ready, get your popcorn in, get your tea. It is time to go in on AFTERBUZZ TV for Braxton Family Values. The shit gets real.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Sing, Tamar.
Hey, I know you had it too.
Because when that part hits,
Yes, Kalima. Yes.
I was feeling it.
Yes, girl.
Look, if they need another damn Braxton, I got one for you. What's up, everybody? Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. It is time for us to go in on Braxton Family Values. We're kicking off this season. My name is McCall Hal. You can find me on social media when sports and pop culture collide at McCall Hal. And don't forget to check us out on social media at AFTERBUZZ TV across the board. Now, I got a nice panel for you guys this season. I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is Mistr Carter. Y'all can find me on all social media at Mistr Carter, as well as on SoundCloud and on YouTube.
So deep.
My name is Kalima, and you can find me on social media at Kalima Music, Art, Wisdom, everywhere.
I feel like I need to go deep too, since Mr. Carter went deep.
Get sexy on them. Get sexy on them.
Yeah, give him that
I'm
Barry
DJ
White.
Richie Skye with y'all once again with McCall. You can find me on social media, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, everything at DJ Richie Skye.
And if somebody owes you money,
There you go.
they know where to find
They know
you.
where to
Ain't
find
no
me.
excuse.
Come on now.
But once again, Mr. Carter, Kalima, DJ Richie Skye, I'm McCall Hal, and we'll be with you all season as we go in for the Braxton Family Values. You guys, this is America's next family, right?
Yes.
First we had the Kardashians, now we got the Braxtons.
Yes.
You know, Toni was giving us another sad love song in the 90s, and now she's got all of her sisters and her mom and her dad and everybody. And yeah, it's just a great show. So this episode that we're starting with is Shit Gets Real. We're starting a little bit later. They've already had a couple episodes. So in case people, have you guys been, watching the first couple episodes?
Yeah,
Yes,
I caught a little bit of the
definitely.
first couple
Here and
episodes.
Yeah, so we're starting a little bit late, but just to catch you guys up, let's see some of the highlights. Their mom had a stroke.
Yes.
Gabe and Trina are officially divorced now. Trina's opened up Bar Chicks.
Yes.
And what else happened? The sisters are trying to figure out where their mom is going to live.
Right.
And, where she's going to
Toni
be
and
happy.
Tamar kind of want her in LA.
Yeah.
The other sisters want her in Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, so now that you have a little bit of background on the beginning of this season, let's get into the third episode called Shit Gets Real. Now, I don't know if you guys have been living up under a rock. I know that I haven't. Tamar has been fired from The Real. So this has been a very hot button topic over the past couple of days, so we're going to get into that on this episode. You guys ready to go?
Ready.
I'm ready to go.
Let's
Because,
go.
no shade. I felt like Tamar was the real.
Right.
I mean,
Right. When she was
the
out
brought the
sick.
life.
piece of the show.
Yes.
I mean, like it or love. I mean, listen. I'm down for Lonnie because I love me some Lonnie love. I've been with
Lonnie
her
will make
since
you
Chelsea.
a plate of ribs and
She
some
will.
barbecue beans.
But at the end
And
of the
the
day,
bacon.
though, I mean, the marquee name there was Tamar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
let's be real
Yes.
about
Yeah.
that. Come on.
If you've watched any episode without Tamar, like when she was out sick,
boring.
Yeah.
yes, it's
It's
always been
boring,
boring.
yeah.
She always brought like the flavor, the attitude, just the controversy,
Yeah.
the realness. To me, she was the realest one.
She was the epitome of The Real.
yeah.
And honestly, without Tamar on Braxton Family Values, the show wouldn't survive either. So,
She brings the snap to the show. I mean,
But
to
it's
everything
crazy.
she does.
Yeah, they said
day
that she
one.
didn't get along with the girls on the
But
episode.
I don't believe that's true
I just
because I
couldn't
feel
believe
like
it.
they all hung out
They
together
blended
outside
really
of
well.
that.
Exactly.
I think there's some deep things going on, but before we get to that, let's give all the other sisters a few moments of our attention because let's be real. This episode was all about Tamar.
Right.
But I want to make sure the other sisters, because you know how they can get kind of catty if they're not getting attention. You know how a big family is. How many people in your
I'm
family?
here for sharing the love.
Not too many. I only got 2 brothers.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're
And
not
2 sisters.
You're not
2
used
sisters.
to having to share the spotlight
No,
like them.
not at all.
So
I don't have to.
let's give a little love to the rest of the sisters. This episode starts out with Miss E has an ability to feel spirits and whatnot, and so does Tamar. And Tamar has a feeling that Logan is feeling a spirit, and so they call in a medium to sit down with the family. And this young man sits down with them and shares a little bit about this spirit that is around Logan, and they find out it's their grandmother. What did you guys think about that?
And he actually has his own show on E, Hollywood Medium. So
he does?
yeah, he's pretty reputable. Yeah, so I'm sure they're probably gonna have one on there as well, like this episode. But so yeah, I think that people who saw that show already kind of saw that he works with celebrities specifically. And I thought that, I don't know, what do you guys, that's the first thing. I was like, do you guys believe in mediums?
I do.
I definitely believe in spirits.
I believe in spirits, definitely, and I'm open to hearing what they have to say. I will go to one just to hear, I want to hear some good stuff. Nothing bad.
Right.
Don't tell me anything bad about my life.
Nobody
I just want to hear the good spirits.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
The only sister that was really for having the medium there, though, I felt like was Tamar, because Towanda said something kind of slick about not believing in,
And Trina left.
And Trina left.
And shout out to Trina, because me personally, I don't believe in mediums. Like Trina said, she believes that it opens up doors to other spirits. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I believe that it opens up doors to demonic spirits.
Now, what I will say,
belief,
that
so
makes sense.
I would have walked out with Trina.
I'm scared as hell right now.
I can understand what you're saying by that, because I do feel like you have to be careful with those types of things.
No, absolutely.
When you're going to the spirit realm, you got to be,
Yeah, but he specifically, one thing that the medium said was that he felt positive spirits, or did he say, I think he used the term angel, actually.
Yeah, he said angel.
And I think that the only way that demons, I feel, could be opened up, like, and that they could enter in that sort of spirit, is if you kind of carry your home to let them feel welcome. I think one of the reasons why angels specifically came in is because that's how they kind of carry themselves. I mean, they even started in a church singing. So I don't think that they would have, I don't know, I feel like spirits only cross over because they feel welcome. So why would a demonic
Miss
spirit?
E said she felt the spirits.
Yeah, Miss E has always, Miss E, well,
So-
they were pastors and reverends and whatnot, so she's always, tapped into her spiritual side.
Right.
But I'm just glad to know that somebody that they actually are related to, their grandmother,
Right.
and Logan's great-grandma.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see the scene where Tamar was like, yeah, Logan will look at me and then throw me shade and look behind me, and now she figured it out. It's their grandmother.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I have a deeper question, though, pertaining to that, because if... Shout out to their spirituality. I'm
Shout
all
out to
for
their
it.
grandma.
But my thing is, if they really thought that there were angels, then why didn't they get somebody like a priest or a pastor? Why get a Hollywood medium?
I know. Maybe for
Now,
the
maybe it was just for the show.
to be
Maybe it was
interesting.
just for the show.
Exactly.
In the spirit of a good cocktail, I believe that. I definitely believe that it, certain things I feel like make for good television.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that makes for good television.
Absolutely.
I mean, and why not be adventurous? We're in Hollywood.
Right,
Come on now. Like, I
right.
feel like that's the way to go.
And,
You know
and
what
for
I mean?
those of you guys who are new to the Braxton Family Values, they've had spiritual leaders. They had T.D. Jakes on last
Of
season.
course,
So
yeah.
it's not like they don't call in
Of
spiritual
course.
leaders, but for this particular instance, they wanted to call in somebody else. But anywho, moving on, Trina sits down with Towanda and tells her about a stalker. She goes through this whole spiel about how this guy was trying to get in touch with her to get help with music. Come to find out it's a stalker, and for that reason, Trina wants to get a gun.
But
And-
do y'all even think he's really a stalker? Maybe he just really wants help with his music, and he's
But
like, I'm
why-
gonna do whatever I gotta do. I gotta show up at the place she probably hang out at.
But why Trina?
That's what I mean. That was my whole thing.
I know you
Why
can't get to
not
Tony,
Trina?
but go to Tony or
Exactly.
Tamar. I
You
guess
can't
maybe
get
Trina's
to
more
Tony.
accessible. Maybe Trina's more accessible.
He said,
If you want help with cocktails, if you want help with like a man who loves pornography,
Okay.
like if you've been watching the show,
Wait.
hell, I would call Tracy before I called Trina.
how you gonna call Tracy though?
Hold on.
Trina has bar
Can
chicks,
I
you
ask
know.
somebody this question? Why don't you just leave a demo? Like, just
Like,
do what
leave a demo.
Do what the people
I mean,
do.
Yeah.
Leave a
Here's
demo.
my
Yeah.
thing. Here's my
Send the
thing.
email. Get the
Regardless
booking
of
email.
who you want to reach out to, there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's what y'all use, the Snapchat. There are all these ways to reach these people. You don't have to stalk them anymore. That was for the
Nah,
90s.
right.
Like, you gonna say, I'm her cousin.
Like that's
Okay,
just
like,
that's
what
just
kinda-
weird. That's just super weird. But anywho, Trina lets Towanda know that she wants to get a gun. I just don't think that's going to end well. But we'll move on from there. Now, Tracy, like I said, all the sisters got to get their little piece of shine. Tracy is speaking at a National Kidney Association fundraiser, if you will, and she's sitting down with her mom, and they share that Trina has to have a hysterectomy, and it's just very emotional for Tracy right now. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
As a woman, she's just going through a lot, and she's a sister that, in my opinion, Tracy just never has her moment to just shine and be happy. She's always got some issue. Like, her husband had a baby on her.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly. Her son last season was engaged to this girl who was 12.
Right.
Like, and now she's got to have a hysterectomy. Like, she's always got some issue. So I really felt for her. Like, did you guys feel for her during that scene?
I mean, I do, but I think that it could also be her storyline. You
But
know,
Tracy's always
every
been
reality show,
the klutz of the show,
Yeah.
so
Which
it's
is
kind of her
sad.
story.
Like,
It's her. It's
yeah,
Tracy.
because
It
they
is
don't
sad.
have to
I agree.
focus on that. She didn't have to say, "Listen, I don't want the public to know about this." She could have said, "I'd rather focus on her radio show." She has a radio show.
I was confused. So there's an issue. She has to have a hysterectomy, but she's also having orgasms.
Yeah,
Which
So I was confused as to which.
jealous.
but
I was
know.
just confused as to which was the issue, because one don't sound like that much of an issue until the lady called into the radio show and then totally spoiled the whole thing.
No, because I've watched documentaries about that as well, and it literally like
Why
one
not?
of I'm sorry,
That's a thing.
it's
It is
a
a thing.
huge thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's very common,
Do y'all
but
experience this?
Well, no. What I was gonna
It's
say
just
is,
good to
I
be
don't know if you guys
informed,
remember from last season. It's not like she's having a couple of orgasms a day. She was saying she was having anywhere from 50 to like 100 orgasms
Oh
a
my
day.
God. Hold on, let me say
Like
something.
every
though.
time she walks.
That's not even
And I'm
Let me say something.
and I love a good orgasm.
Every time
Let me
she
say
walks.
something. Hold on.
Yo.
As a man,
Okay.
can you imagine?
Okay.
No,
So
as a
damn near
man,
passed
can you
out from
imagine
one.
sitting up here and not even being able to focus?
Yeah.
That's the
you
point.
orgasm.
I'm having one
She
right
said-
now.
Basically, for those of you guys who are just catching up, anytime Tracy moves her body or
Yeah.
breathes too hard, she's gonna have an
orgasms.
She
orgasm.
said one of the main triggers was being on her motorcycle. Can you imagine just being on the
Actually, that
motorcycle?
sounds kind of hot. But anywho, Tracy, talks about her hysterectomy, and Miss E, in a motherly way, reminds her that a hysterectomy has nothing to
Yeah,
do with your husband's
absolutely.
penis going in your vagina.
Yeah.
Miss E just has a way
She's
of
real.
capturing the moment, and just summing it all up really nicely.
Yeah,
I love
she
that.
does.
I
She
love
does,
that.
yes.
I love it.
Yeah. Moving on, Toni gets word about Trina wanting to get a gun. Toni doesn't like the sounds of it. I don't think any of the sisters like the sound of it. But now Miss E, going back to Miss E, y'all know getting Miss E to move to LA, to stay in Atlanta, either way, they got to find Miss E a man. I mean, I've been watching Braxton's for years, and she ain't never had no man. She been
Because they
fighting
always
with Michael.
interrupting her dates.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every single time. So,
They're protective over
She
her.
cannot
They're
get
super
her groove
protective.
on.
Did you guys see Toni's Lifetime movie? You saw the scene when she was really like the mom. Missy was really upset when she got a divorce. They want to make sure that if she's gonna open the door to putting her heart on the line again, that like this could be the one that you die with. They're just protective. I would
Would
be
you,
the same way.
would you guys talk to your, let's say this is, 40 years from now, you guys have adult children, maybe even 50 years from now, adult children. Would you sit down and talk to them about your upcoming date? Because I thought that was kind of awkward.
Not a date. If it was getting serious, then I would sit down and have a conversation with my children about
with
it. But
my
if we're
mom,
just dating,
absolutely.
no.
Because they were just getting it ready, like,
No.
okay, girl, so this is what you got to do. This is what you got to wear. This is what you got to talk
No.
about. This is how you got to bat your lashes. It was cute to me.
I think
No.
because she's single, you know what I
She's
mean,
been single
and
for so long.
and she's had a divorce. I feel like they are very protective, and they just want to. I agree with you on that. They want to make sure, and I feel like they may not have had those conversations if that wasn't the case.
But I think the worst thing you can do, even as a female, I don't know about you guys, but getting advice like what you should wear, that's like common, whatever. That's not cute. Don't wear that. But don't tell her she can't. Oh, don't order a steak. You better get the salad. Like, no, she wants a steak because if the relationship works out,
Let Miss
he
E
gonna see
eat.
her eat a steak. Either way,
Let Miss E
let her
eat,
do what
damn
she.
it.
Yeah,
She
let her do
almost
what she wants
died
to do.
2 weeks ago, y'all.
Yeah.
Toni, stop tripping. Let your mama eat
Yeah.
the damn steak. So, Miss E actually ends up going out on a date with a man who looks like, what's his name? Tom Joyner. Did anybody remember Tom Joyner?
He
Yeah,
did.
but kind of.
The man reminded me of Tom Joyner. I was like,
He was a
hold
little
up.
more snowflake than Tom Joyner, but yeah.
What did they say he was?
Fair-skinned,
And what is
Anglo.
Anglo? What is that?
Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody ain't been to church. See, that's why you like mediums. That's why.
No, yeah.
I figured it out.
Mediums.
I figured it out. This is why this one likes mediums.
Okay,
She ain't been to church. She didn't even know what a damn thing.
No, I know who that was. No.
Holy. Where's the holy oil? Lord God the Father. So anyway, so Miss E goes out with this Tom Joyner lookalike, but Toni and Tamar decide to try to be sneaky and sit at the Fogo de Chao and hang out and try to act like they're not going to be seen.
It's Shao. As
Yes.
we all learned
Okay.
today, because I've been saying it wrong
I've
for
been saying it
years.
wrong.
Lord
And that is
Jesus.
one of my favorite places because they never stop serving you food.
$57 and you can eat like a king.
Oh,
I
you
I
swear to
got
God.
to go
I
there.
swear to God.
Oh my gosh, I have to go there.
Yes, you really
Okay,
do.
now back to what you were saying.
So yeah, so you know they're hiding out and everything, and I'm just like, wait a second, did they really think that was gonna work? I mean, just
Listen.
production wise, you're sitting in a restaurant, you got cameras, like, you don't think Miss E gonna see you?
Yes, ma'am.
Like this, everybody do this right now. Can you see me?
Damn, y'all.
Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me?
With the plate,
we can
though.
see you, girl. Finally, Miss E spots him over in the back, calls him
was
over
so
to the table,
embarrassed.
and you know, looking at that Tom Joyner look like. By the way, his name is Ben. I believe it was Ben. Was it Ben? I think it was. I think it was Ben.
The day was
He
crashed, I
looked-
forgot.
He looked mad as hell. What would you guys have done if you were on a first date with a lady and her daughters? This is for the fellas.
She was so embarrassed. Okay.
Would you would have told them like, get your ass out of here?
No, because
No, I would've
those
ordered
are
them
not
some
my
drinks.
children.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I wouldn't have been.
Because-
I wouldn't have been that.
No, you know why? Because I feel like sometimes you got to recognize when you're dating somebody, you also kind of have to date their friends and family.
Absolutely.
Just let's be clear, you do.
Come
to
and
a
get this
certain,
word.
okay. I'm just letting y'all know that's what happens. These are going to be the people that you have to interact
Yes.
with, so you need to make them very comfortable.
And that's a gentleman,
so
and
that
you
they
can
can
tell.
be comfortable with you.
Yeah, and you can tell Miss E wants a gentleman, and he got points for real to be calm about it, to be like, oh, they're
Go
so
ahead,
sweet,
Ben.
oh, this is so funny. He better. He's supposed to get like an attitude. She would have been.
But
Ben,
it wasn't about disrespect.
Take Richie's
though.
advice and order him a drink next time.
Yeah.
Okay, I can agree with the drink just a little bit, but it's out of respect. Period. It should have been a level of respect. They shouldn't have been at the restaurant in the first place.
So you
But the fact
completely
that they
disagree.
went, I do, because the fact that they went to the table to interrupt the date. Period. It's just a
Yeah,
level of
that's too
respect.
much.
You
What if
guys
they
are
were talking
adults.
nasty?
You're
I
adults.
mean,
You should not be
but
doing
you know
that.
what
period.
though? But you know what? Sometimes you have to rise above, and you gotta take. You gotta just because somebody takes an action that you can't react to that. You gotta act in the same way that you normally would. So just be a gentleman. Order them some drinks. Deal with it later. You know what I'm
I would have
saying?
been like, I'm gonna order y'all some drinks, but after this, you gotta go.
You can't tell them they gotta go.
Look, they finally got the hint. Ben started getting a little red in the face because he's fair skinned. Fair skinned brother, so we can see when he's getting
Anglo.
flustered. Anglo, okay. They finally got up and left, and they moved on from that scene. And what happened after that? Trina decides to learn a little bit of self defense through some laser tag. Her and her sisters go play laser tag. It was fun. It was cute.
Where were they at?
They were
Did
at
anybody know?
a laser tag
First
place.
off, that wasn't even a fair fight. I
Yeah.
mean, both of them against her, they could have at least done 1-on-1. You know what I'm saying? Like,
If
come on, you
if
played
wanna
laser
get
tag
it-
before.
If you want to get a gun, you got to be ready to have the most intense training of your life.
Yeah, but it was more fun for them anyway. And anyone who's played laser tag, it's like fun. You can't even, you don't even think about like I'm supposed to be practicing for
I hate
self-defense.
laser tag. I'm too big for that.
I know,
All these little kids,
No,
they
you would
get,
love
they
it.
get you. I'm
They get
saying,
you would love
like,
it.
No, I hate it.
Especially if he bought you a drink, you would want to go
I mean, well, yeah.
laser
Buy
tag
me a
after.
drink, I do.
Honestly,
Well,
you guys, I would have rather you take Trina to go play mini golf and just talk good sense to her because I don't think laser tag helped anything at all. But anywho, after they left laser tag, they went up and met at Bar Chicks. So let me tell you, when I go to ATL
Yes.
this
Going
summer,
to Bar
Yes.
Chicks, y'all.
I'm going to Bar Chicks to get all of those
Oxtail.
oxtails and a couple cocktails.
Well,
I love me
Tamar
some
call it the
oxtails.
tails of the ox.
The tails of the yachts.
Of the
Tails
But
of the
did
yachts.
y'all notice I couldn't get? I'm a drink person, so I was like, well, Toni got like 5 drinks in front of her. I was like, girl, you are putting it down
Toni
today.
officially got drunk. Like Toni turned up, and I've never seen Toni turn up like that.
They called her 2 sips Toni.
But let's play a little game, you guys, because I'm a drink girl myself. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to get a cocktail.
So
praise
am I.
God. But I thought it'd be
Praise
interesting for us to pick a cocktail for each sister. So Toni, if you were to think about Toni, is she like a wine girl or is she like a Cosmo girl?
Tony's champagne and wine.
Yeah, I
You
would
know
agree.
she is.
I can see like strawberries and champagne for Toni.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
So what
she's
about
so
Tamar?
mellow.
What is the perfect drink to sum up?
Oh, she's
Tamar?
always about the what is it? The martinis. She always talks about a martini.
Yeah, she always talks
I
about
can
a
see her with
martini.
like
Lemon
a
drop.
lemon drop. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see her with a lemon drop.
And Trina's whatever.
Trina's whatever's
Now
what.
Trina, hold
whatever.
on, Trina. I feel like Trina would be a Long Island girl.
No, for sure.
You know,
for
Long
sure.
Island.
I think if I were to describe Trina in a cocktail, I would give her something with tequila, so maybe a margarita. And the
Definitely.
reason why is because tequila's the only liquor, to my understanding. I don't know if this is true or not, but it makes you more excited.
Isn't
And
her
Trina's
baby daddy
like,
Mexican?
It speeds your heart rate up.
yeah,
And
so,
her baby daddy's Mexican too, right?
Well, they're divorced
yeah.
now.
Well, yeah.
Gabe, don't you ever show your face around these parts
Tequila.
again. Anywho, but yes. So
And then Tracy.
Tracy, what would Tracy be? Tracy's something dark.
I
liquor.
feel like
Tracy,
Yeah,
drank dark
She gotta be
liquor.
like Hennessy,
Definitely.
and Coke,
That's
something
Hennessy.
like that.
Y'all,
That's
Like,
Hennessy.
y'all
That's
remember
the
when
Henny
she
shit. I
feel
when
like
she was
she-
too drunk to perform for Toni?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was
Tracy liked dark liquor.
That was brown.
That was
Now, what about
Towanda?
Towanda? Because Tawanda's the responsible one, so Tawanda's probably drinking.
Tawanda's
like,
no drink.
Tawanda's not having a drink. No, because Tawanda's
She
Towanda
can't be the
definitely
DD.
does, yeah.
She cannot
But
be
I
the
don't
DD
know.
all the time.
She's a Smirnoff. She's a wine cooler.
I would give her a Jack and Coke.
really you give
Something
you
kind of
give.
like with like a like
Jack
a
and
lemon
Coke
twist or
is
something like that.
And that's
That's
like-
not that bad.
Towanda made mention that she's really excited for bar chicks to finally be open because she's like, well, Trina can give me free drinks. So we know that she likes
She's
to drink.
gonna have a drink, but we just don't
what
know
is her
what.
signature drink? Towanda, if you're watching this, tweet us. What is your signature drink?
You
We
know, at
wanna
bar
know.
chicks, they all have their own drink, right?
I haven't seen the menu.
Yes.
Somebody let us know.
Yeah, if you're
Yes.
TTL,
Let us
I haven't
know.
seen the menu,
Can
but
you
yeah.
send us a copy of the menu so we can see what their signature drink is? Because I'm
Yes.
just guessing here. But anywho, so we're gonna move on to what everybody has been waiting on.
Dun, dun, dun,
My
dun.
second page of notes here. So shout out to all the sisters on Braxton Family Values.
Yes.
We did our part to give you guys a little bit of shine. We're gonna give you guys a lot of shine this season, but because of all this news, we've got to dig into what everybody's waiting to hear about, and that is Tamar has been fired from The Real. So the scene opens up with Vince calling Toni, and you know Vince is one of those guys. He's a
Yeah.
soft spoken individual,
Yeah.
but you could hear.
But he's a manager.
He's a manager, but you could hear the quiver in his voice when he was on the phone with Toni. He was like, "I just need you to come over here now."
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I
had-
feel
that
like
had
she
me
was
kinda
the
shaken up.
appropriate person to call.
Out of everybody.
Yeah.
Don't call.
Absolutely.
Don't
Well,
call
Tamar looks
Trina.
up to her the most with her entire career. She says, you know,
And I think Toni could relate the most.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Toni's been in the
Yeah,
spotlight and been in
definitely.
entertainment.
Yeah.
So.
definitely.
Yeah. Now, before we get into this, there was an interview today from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Shout out to Steve Harvey and Shirley Strawberry. Been in the
Yeah,
game
yeah.
for a long time, and they got the exclusive from Tamar regarding what happened on The Real. So I think we should listen to that first and then
Yeah.
dig into what happens on the show. So if you guys have it queued up, our engineers, could you queue up that interview and let's listen to the first minute or so?
Vince made a call because he wanted to, this is so random, he was calling them to talk about Glam for Essence Festival.
Okay.
Really? Really. And literally, this is verbatim what he told me. She was like, "Oh, I've been meaning to call you."
Oh.
No,
So-
really.
Yeah. So that
Wow. And then went into, well, we're not going to have her back, for the panel or whatever. And I was actually in my glam room, and then when I came downstairs, I saw this look on Vince's face. He just looked like distraught and confused.
Uh-huh.
And I thought something happened, to somebody in my family, like, what's
Was you
wrong?
your
What's going
husband?
yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on? And he was just like, I think you got fired, I think. I'm like, what you talking about?
Right.
I think
Fired for what?
Uh-huh.
fired for what?
No, really, he was like the real, and really, honestly, my heart sunk into my shoes. Really,
Oh.
like I like pretty much fell over. To be
Because
honest.
you were happy there. You
I was
loved your job.
excited. I
Yeah.
loved going to work.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like everybody else. I love driving myself to work. I would work out in the morning, go straight to the set, and be there to shoot 2 or 3 shows, and come home and shoot a scene or 2 for the Braxtons or Tamar events, or record a record, and
That was
go to bed at 11
there-
and wake up at 5.
So
Tamar,
that
had there
was
been
the first minute or so of this interview, and it's about 11 minutes. I would suggest as soon as this is over and done, head over to YouTube, listen to the whole 11 minutes because it's very insightful. Steve Harvey left us with some real nuggets of wisdom.
Yes.
Shout out to Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey was preaching on there.
yo.
But so now we've heard how it went down. Now let's get some raw reaction from the actual episode. So we see Toni come into a room. First of all, shout out to Tamar. She knew those cameras were going to be on. Tamar was beat for the gods.
Wasn't she?
That face was
yeah.
contoured, honey, because she knew she was going to be crying.
Yeah.
She knew she was going to be crying, so she was like,
not
let me
gonna
make sure I
catch-
got on this good foundation.
Yeah. And she said she was coming from her glam room, so
Yeah, she
was
looked
right.
glamorous.
Yeah.
She looked glamorous. She,
But I think the reason why she was shocked is I think she was shocked because they broke a contract. Didn't they broke?
No, they didn't break a contract. So what happens with these different TV shows, every time there's a new season, you have a contract renegotiation.
Okay.
So they have the option of offering you a
okay.
new contract.
Okay.
Or no. If they broke your contract, well, you still got to pay me.
Right.
You know, you still got to pay me.
It's interesting because Steve, later in the interview, he talks about how it works in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can work with these production companies, and they can put you through all sorts of hoops. And at the end of the day, they can let you go without a notice and without, just like she said, like the lady said, "Oh, we've been meaning to call you." They don't even. Sometimes they don't even have to call.
No.
Like, I mean, I'm sure you will hear this time and time again with people who have worked in the industry that they have just been doing their thing and they got a notice that they didn't need to be
And
didn't need to come back
Steve
anymore.
Harvey specifically called them there's cowards in Hollywood,
Exactly.
high up
There
in
is.
Hollywood, because they're like, well, I don't feel like breaking the news. Technically, I have control to renegotiate the contract. If I want to have you back, then you know that I'll contact you. If I don't, then you already know what it is.
Well, look here. If you don't
so
see us
sad,
next
man.
week, you
Okay, then y'all know.
we said something wrong.
I mean, but
our
it's-
contracts didn't get renewed
But
for
it's the truth.
Braxton.
It's
It
the
is.
reality of
Hopefully, our
Hollywood.
producers will have us back next week.
Okay.
No, it is the absolute truth, though. Trust me.
I'll be sitting there in the unemployment line like Tamar. Okay? But anyways, I find it very interesting because Tamar really confided in Toni in this moment, and Toni took on that motherly role.
Yeah.
And, you know, Toni's a superstar.
Yeah, she is.
Bona fide superstar.
Yeah.
But you saw Toni had to just break down all of that and just be nurturing.
Right.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
Older
really
sister, right?
emotional.
Yeah.
It was really
Can
emotional.
you imagine?
She's the oldest.
Like what she was saying that she went through this year. Like I cannot imagine everything you've ever wanted. Like she didn't even really want a kid, but now she loves her kid. She's literally gotten everything she wanted, and something happens. So it's hard to even see, okay, like Toni said, like there's always going to be, you know, a new story. It's like this too shall pass. But like when you go through that sort of pattern emotionally, it's like, am I ready to invest in something else just
Yeah.
to be
You know
shot
what, though?
down?
Most times when people get fired, I mean, it's always something behind door number
There's
two.
always something.
Always. I knew it was gonna happen. You know, if you guys watch the video, I mean, listen to the Steve Harvey show. At the end, there's a big surprise.
Yeah, and that's why I said listen to it. I'm
Yes.
not going to give you everything on
Yes.
this show, okay?
Okay, good.
This is about the Braxton Family Values, but
Yes.
you guys listen to that one. Now, Tamar shared something that I didn't even think about while she was, you know, finally breaking down, getting emotional. Tamar let us know, yo, I'm hurting because of my album flopped, which I loved her album, but it didn't do well.
Yeah, but
No
I
promo.
don't think she was for some reason able to promote
That's
it.
what I'm
then she
saying.
goes
I
on
wondered
to
about
B.
that
She
myself.
goes on to B. She says, I couldn't promote my album because I'm busy with everything else. Then
Dancing
she's
with the
talking about
Stars.
Dancing with the Stars. If you guys remember, she got really sick, couldn't even really compete with Dancing with the Stars. And now this, I mean, blow after blow after blow after blow for
That's
Tamar.
huge.
That made me feel for her. When I first heard about Tamar getting let go, I was kind of like, well, damn, you still rich. You know what I mean? Like, hell, if I get fired from somewhere, I'm like, oh, Lord, I got this car payment, I got this rent, I got this weave.
Right,
Like, what is going on?
right.
Because you got to keep the weave on your
Priorities.
But, you know, for Tamar, I officially felt for her this episode, and I'm glad she shared it, because I'm not saying I didn't care, Tamar. Please don't take it there, Tamartians, but I finally understood why this probably hurt for her like that.
My thing about it was that it was so public. It just spread like wildfire over a weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like this
But you got to
was.
think about it. This probably happened months ago, or at least 3 months ago.
No, apparently, it was just the last weekend.
But how did they
I
do
heard
a
about
show
it.
So
like-
I'm assuming that they probably just filmed that
I was
segment.
thinking so, too. They
You know,
had to
just for
have.
this week's show. Because I feel like that was the best way for them to tell. I don't know this, but I feel like that was the best way for them to tell her side very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I felt like they needed to do that.
I'm interested to know the timeline of how this
Right,
show got
me too.
produced today, because typically they shoot these shows months in advance.
That's what I thought.
Well, exactly. That's what I thought too. So when I saw that they were doing promos for it, I was like, they must have shot that this week. They had to have shot it like right after it happened.
If anybody
remember
is
Capitalize
can
on it.
tweet us about the show production, the timeline, please let us
Please.
know, because I'm interested to know
Me
how
too.
they schedule it. What
But
were
I
you
think
saying?
that was the smartest
Remember
thing.
Tamar when she was on the bed talking with Toni? She did say something about they taped like 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, they
For
just
the last,
they
Oh,
had
a
just
month
made
ago,
the-
right,
for the
she did.
Yeah, so I'm like, she could have gotten fired prior. You know what I'm saying? And it's just now coming out.
Yeah.
That could be.
It's a
That could be it too.
possibility. Yeah.
I don't know the whole timeline of it, but like I said, officially today, I felt for Tamar. I mean, I felt for her regardless. Anytime you lose a gig, I mean, that sucks. But when you think about the hits that Tamar has taken, hit after hit, I mean, she's only human, and she said that. I'm human. I'm human.
Yeah.
But what did you guys think about Toni's way of consoling her and bringing her back to reality? Toni let down her wall a little bit. She goes, I've had to deal with public embarrassment. I was bankrupt. Remember when Toni went bankrupt? And we were all like, Toni, how the hell you go bankrupt? You got all that money.
Yeah.
And then
But
she
it's
went on
tough.
Oprah.
Yeah, and then she went on Oprah. But
Yeah.
how did you guys feel about Toni as a nurturer? Because this, like I said, was the first time I really saw
I
Toni
loved it.
pull somebody in like that.
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, she said exactly what she needed to say. I think in that moment, I think she said what I would have said. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that was the right thing.
What did she say? She said, okay,
There's
so we're
always
going to
more.
cry today.
Right.
Then we're going to
Exactly.
be sad and eat a lot of food tomorrow. And then she said, like, by Monday, we're going to be done crying
Because
with it.
you have to embrace what you feel in that
Right.
moment. You can't just
1000%.
bypass it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then allow yourself another day to recover. And then you got to face the world again.
Yeah. What did you think?
I thought that Toni was the best individual again because she is the oldest sister. And like I said, she can relate to that the most because she's been in entertainment. And I'm sure Toni has gotten fired from some gigs.
Yeah,
I'm sure
she
she
has.
has. So
She has.
she was the best individual to do so.
Well, on behalf of AfterBuzz TV, on behalf of the Braxton Family Values panel, Tamar, keep your head
Yes,
up.
yes.
And she definitely assured us she's going to keep her head up. But
Yeah.
what do you guys think will be the next opportunity, if you will, for Tamar? Where would you like to see her end up? Her own show? I mean,
My thought was definitely her own show. I was like, well, good. What? I mean, what you need the rest of the singers for? The background singers for? I mean,
Right,
just do
right,
your own thing.
right.
I mean, no shade to anybody
I'm going
else.
to tell you, I watched the reel. Tamar made me want to watch.
Exactly.
Can you guys see her by herself though? Like in a conversation,
I
it's
knew
so
what I-
different.
I know what I would like though, because listen, Chloe's show was canceled.
Yes.
Cocktails with
Cocktails
Chloe.
with Chloe.
That format would work if it was a little less messy and I mean chaotic in terms of production. But I feel like Tamar could definitely do something like that, and it would be
That would be
popping.
perfect. Yeah.
I could see that too. Now, what about this? Because Braxton Family Values, I mean, this show's been on for what, 4 years now?
Yeah.
What if they transferred Braxton Family Values and like created a talk show for the Braxtons?
I think that would be dope too.
That
I
would
could
be
totally
interesting.
see it.
I
You
can
know what
see
I'm
that
saying?
one too.
That way, all the sisters kind of get their, moment to shine. But I think the problem would be getting them all into one city.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
they've got planes, trains, and automobiles. Look, you guys owe me production credit for that because I vote that Braxton Family Values turns into a talk show and let Tamar be the lead host and let her have her own show. That's what I'm talking
Boom.
about.
There we go.
Tamar, there's a brighter day for you. Anything else you guys want to share regarding this episode, with the whole Tamar situation?
I personally just want to say I love what Tamar said at the end because they could have left it like a little cliffhanger, but instead they allowed her to inspire everyone at the end in the way that she said, I'm just being pushed into my destiny. Because if you think about it, Steve Harvey, he always talks about jumping. Jumping is so important. It's scary, but sometimes when you jump, it could be you'll fly. Sometimes it could be the most amazing result or experience in the end. But then she said, I knew for a fact that this wasn't the end because it's written in the book. What's written for you will happen regardless. So don't go against what's happening. Embrace it, but just have faith that eventually everything will work out and you'll actually be pushed into your destiny. I thought it was beautiful.
Look at
Girl, you
Kalima
just took us to
preaching the
church.
word.
I'm
Now,
just
she went from not knowing nothing about the word, not even know
To liking
Anglo-Saxon,
mediums.
to preaching on this show. Look at God.
Won't he do it?
Yes. Don't sleep on me. Kalima Music Art Wisdom. That's what I am.
And for those of you guys who want to get a little bit of insight about us, Kalima just moved here a month ago, so she took the ultimate leap, leaving across the country.
Boom.
Twas a jump. Twas a jump. And it's worth it. It's worth it.
This
AfterBuzz is
probably,
awesome. So
this episode probably hit home for you, huh?
yeah,
Okay.
no, 1000%, absolutely. And I'm totally a Tamartian, and I've always, been inspired by her. And honestly, like I feel like she's kind of living my life. Like, she's married to the producer, and then she's a singer, and then she's doing a talk show. So like her lifestyle, I really look up to her, and I just think that it's so beautiful that even though, of course, she is sensitive, she can have an attitude, she's sensitive, but for her to, end this specific episode in a way that turns it around and lets people know you don't even have to worry about me, because I'm not worried. I know that this is it's just the journey. It has nothing to do with
She's
the
good to
destination.
go.
So,
Mr. Carter, you want to
Yeah.
send any final words to Tamar?
Man, but God, Tamar, but God, he will do it, and that's all I have to say to you. That is all I have to say.
And DJ Richie, anything you want to send
I
to Tamar?
just thought, listen, she ended that episode with a bang like only she could. It
Right.
left us all inspired and motivated, and this was a great way to start the season.
yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to everything that's going to happen on Braxton Family Values this year. Like I said, they're my big sisters / aunties / play cousins in my head. So I'm looking forward to everything this season. We're going to be here every single Thursday. You guys check us out on AfterBuzz TV on all the social media platforms. I'm your girl, McCall Hal. When sports and pop culture collide, you can find me on social media at McCall Hal. And the rest of my cast, again, let them know where they can find you.
Y'all can find me everywhere at Mistr Carter. That's MistrCarter.
You can find me, Kalima, at Kalima Music Art Wisdom everywhere.
And you can stalk me at DJ Richie Skye on Instagram, Twitter, and the Snap.
Yeah.
And they'll stalk you too. All right, you guys, we'll see you next week. We'll buzz you later. Take care.
Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.